Here I come.
Oh.
Here I come.
Oh.
Hard to believe it's been a year since my Tarantino interview episode dropped. It's even harder to believe that he's had a hand in the making of 3 films in that same fucking time frame, none of which are his 10th film. Yes, you heard me correctly. He wrote The Adventures of Cliff Booth, which will debut Thanksgiving week here in America. And he has appeared as an actor in 2 films written and directed by Welsh filmmaker Jamie Adams. It would appear Quentin is in his Renaissance man era, as he has expanded his talents beyond just a filmmaker, and he is now an author, a playwright, and an actor. Speaking of expanding, it has now been 7 years since the release of his last film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the longest wait we've ever had to endure between film releases of his. With no clear-cut announcement from the man himself that he's got his next film ready to go or to shoot at any time, it's starting to feel like it might be another 2 years before we get to watch a movie he's directed on the big screen again. And that's assuming that there will ever be another film from him. Welcome to Talking Tarantino. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Talking Tarantino. I'm your host, the Reverend Scott K, and it is my pleasure to welcome to the show the lead singer of the Likely Lads, an alternative rock band out of LA. Joining us all the way from the sunny shores of California, it's Mr. Simon Elbaum. Welcome, Mr. Elbaum, and may Tarantino be with you always.
And with you, Scott.
You are crossing over. I always like when fans cross over into the podcast or onto the church. Many of my acolytes, as they're known, have done the same. And you, sir, are now you're being baptized. You're being baptized into the fucking church.
You know what? I'm a Jew, so
well,
if there's any church to be baptized
yes.
in, this is the one.
Well, I'm an atheist, so I don't know either way. So we'll throw whatever you want me to do. I will mazel tov it, whatever you need. But
I'm honored to be baptized in the church.
For your episode, welcome to the Synagogue of Tarantino.
Thank you.
Well, Simon, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to talk some Tarantino with me. And we're going to kick off these proceedings with the latest Tarantino news. First up, over the last year, the acting bug has taken hold of Mr. Tarantino, as he has been in not one, but 2 films from Welsh filmmaker Jamie Adams. Back in October, he had a co-starring role in the romantic drama Only What We Carry that debuted this summer at the Tribeca Film Festival. He plays John Percy, the friend of Simon Pegg's character, who is the catalyst for the drama that unfolds between a group of close-knit friends. A theatrical release of the film is planned for the fall. And just a little over a month ago, he filmed Tangled Up in Blue, another romantic drama, where this time he played the male lead opposite Kylie Minogue. As we speak, that film is in post-production with a theatrical release date sometime next year. Now, Mr. Adams pursued QT for these roles because he believed his improvisational filmmaking style would play to Quentin's strengths as a storyteller. Simon, do you think these 2 collaborations are simply Tarantino scratching an old acting itch, or could they mark the beginning of a genuine second career in front of the camera for him?
Okay, so I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think he is in a place right now where he has the time and the opportunity to act, and it seems, I read one of those movies, they shot it over something like 6 days.
I believe Mr. Adams is known for a script outline, kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but he shoots these in about a week, maybe 8 days. So he does churn them out quickly.
Right. So I think in that case, it's one of those things where QT doesn't have to be on set for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever, right? So I think he probably, gets along with the director and the actors and the crew and just said, yeah, why not? I can take a week or even 2 weeks to do something, and he hasn't done it in a long time. I think it's a fun way where he can be creative, but also not have to have the immense amount of responsibility and dedication and determination that he has with something that's his own project or even something that he's written, right? It's less his personal baby and more of, hey, I'm gonna hang out and do this with you, with my friends.
It does make it easy for him because when he said in our interview, in my interview, you know, he's a dad. And right now, it also probably the timing was perfect because he filmed it over in Wales, which is on the United Kingdom. He's right down the road, so to speak. I mean, because we're in America. So to us,
Right.
London to Wales is like, oh, I'm going from Chicago to, you know, like Pittsburgh. It's not that far of a drive
Right.
for Americans. But it's, you know, he's over there setting up the play. He's got an opportunity to act. Clearly, he had a good time when he did it in October. Things just kind of worked out that he was able to be a part of this. I could foresee him doing more of the films of Mr. Adams because if they're easy, I don't. Well, I shouldn't say easy, but they're filmed in a couple of days, so he doesn't have to, you know, stretch out a big part of his schedule, be away from his family for a long period of time, and whether he's either the star or a co-star, again, he'll be done. You know, hey, I'll see you guys in a couple hours. He's back, and
Yeah, I think it's something similar to somebody saying, "Oh, hey, come down to the studio, play on my session for a few hours, and we'll hang out and shoot the shit."
yeah,
That's kind of what it seems like, considering how deeply he's involved with his own projects. Yeah, this definitely seems like something that I think he would do more if the opportunity presented itself,
mm-hmm.
and if also he didn't, if he didn't interfere with other things.
And maybe it'll give him the directing bug again too. You never know. You never
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Now, considering some of the remarks Quinn has made about certain actors over the past year, how harshly do you think his performances are going to be scrutinized in both of these films?
All right. So this is a fucking juicy one, right? Because he did talk shit kind of out of left field.
It did seem kind of strange. It did seem like
Yeah,
fucking a curveball that no one saw
it
coming.
it was, I think, kind of funny, but not necessary. Also, yeah, look, I think the people who are fans are, they're going to maybe like it, maybe they might be indifferent because it is a little bit of a, it's not a cameo. It These movies, from what I've read, they don't seem in the Tarantino even vibe necessarily. They're kind of dramas or
Mm-hmm.
dramedies, kind of, from what I've understood. I think they're going to fly low enough under the radar where, yeah, there might be a douchebag out there here and there who's going to talk shit about it.
For sure. Dano fans for sure are going to pick every instance apart.
I think, I don't think him making the statements about those actors a while back is going to do him any service in regards to this, because God bless him, but he's not going to come out and give us a Jack Nicholson or Daniel Day-Lewis performance. But please, if I'm wrong, wonderful,
Well, Mr. Adams must have saw something in him when he did the co-starring role to put him in the lead. I mean,
Yeah,
he's the lead role with an Australian pop star in Kylie Minogue. So he saw something in both of them that he said, "Yeah, these are my actors."
I think it's going to be cool. I think either way, it's going to be cool. I think that he knows enough. Like, it's funny. I was listening to one of your episodes where he was talking about, where you were talking about he was impersonating people, and then I was also listening to the audio version of Cinema Speculation, where he does the voice of the black gentleman at the
Yes,
end.
he did that in my show in New York on
Yeah,
stage.
and the reality of it is he's pretty good
Yeah,
at certain impersonations, and he's not just a random person. So I think he has the capability to do these films justice. I think it's going to really depend on the director and his co-stars to pull it out of him.
agreed. And as fans, we're gonna see it if we want to because we just want to see how he does. We don't like him
Yeah,
for his acting. I've had an episode on it, what his good stuff was, what wasn't good. I'm not a fan of his because he can act or not act. I like what he is writing and his directing.
exactly.
I fucking love it.
Exactly.
Those who though want to see him set on fire, they're going to pick it apart. They're gonna have something to say about it. And I honestly, I don't think he fucking cares either way. That's one thing. He's very good, at least in public, in his persona of basically putting up a stiff upper lip and middle fingers to everybody, and he just doesn't give a fuck what they say. And so it is what it is. He doesn't care. He just doesn't
Yeah,
fucking
and
care.
more power to him. He's done enough in his career to go and do something that is fun,
And for him,
that's
and just
yeah,
for
for
him.
him,
Yep.
exactly. So more power to him. People who want to shit on him are gonna find ways to do it no matter what. No
Agreed.
matter what. So fuck him.
Well, changing course now from news to speculation. As I mentioned in the open, it has been 7 fucking years since the release of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, marking the longest time between Tarantino film releases. Previous record holder was the 6-year wait we endured between Jackie Brown and Kill Bill. Tarantino has commented that if his upcoming play, The Popinjay Cavalier, is a success, he would look to adapt it for the big screen. So we covered on here at the end of July, Robert Richardson made a comment that Tarantino might film his 10th and final movie starting next summer. No word from Tarantino on that. And then let's not forget that the 1930s Gangster Limited series that he's apparently doing with Sylvester Stallone is still out there in the ether as well. Simon, with all the possible creative avenues out there for him to choose from, what do you think is the most likely path Quentin takes next after the play debuts this coming winter?
I think that he's gonna monitor the play closely. And I think, he made a comment during your interview, I believe, where he was talking about box office
Mm-hmm.
and how Netflix is no box office. And I think with the play, it's not gonna be a slow burn where all of a sudden 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after it premieres, everybody wakes up and is like, oh, it's amazing. I think they're
Right.
gonna either think it's
They're gonna know
great.
quick, yeah.
We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
know pretty quickly, and I think that's going to really I think if it is great, I think it's going to spark that fire, get him excited. He's gonna, it's gonna tour. That's gonna be an experience in and of itself, and then hopefully that he continues to ride that wave and give us the Popinjay Cavalier movie. Because I'd fucking love to see that. Some Tarantino pirates doing some crazy Tarantino shit like that. That sounds pretty fun to me.
I just see like a bunch of like Marvin moments, just like this
Yeah,
out of the fucking blue violence that you're like, what the fuck just happened?
because I think he is really funny. There's a lot of things in his movies that are
Oh,
laugh out
absolutely.
loud funny,
Mm-hmm.
and this, from the sounds of it, this seems like something that would allow him to really flex that comedic muscle. He's the play's been announced. It's in motion. It's going. We
Mm-hmm.
know that that's happening. And I wish it the best of success, and I hope that we get more from it, really.
Well, we have reached the point in our show where I step aside, hand the reins over to my guest, and see where today's Tarantino discussion is going to take us. All right, Mr. Elbaum, what Tarantino-themed rabbit hole are we diving into this
Okay,
week?
so because we are on video, and how many times on your podcast people have held books up and you can't see. Now, I'm gonna preface this by there will be spoilers. This book has been out for 5 fucking years. If you have not read this book yet and you're a Tarantino fan, I'm sorry. Go get the audiobook, read the book, however you want to do it, you need to
Hit
do it.
stop, because this is video. You come back to it when you're done. It's going to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Stop, put it on pause, go read the book. Given 2026 is this juicy year for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
our 7-year anniversary, and I know that every Tarantino fan is probably more excited about the adventures of Cliff Booth than they have been in a long time. This now is a good time to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in all of its glory. I want to talk about the book as well, because this is not a movie script. This is a novel that stands on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I want to ask of you, Scott, is obviously you've read the book.
Yes, I prepped for this. A week ago, I drove to Indianapolis, which was a 9-hour drive from where I live, to meet up with Sean Wheeler, former co-host on the Blue Ball series, and to meet Zoe Bell. I listened to this, most of the way down because there's 12 hours to listen to, and the first 3 hours back just to get refreshed. And actually, it was probably really good to do because it helps me with some of your questions you're going to ask. But yes, I'm
Perfect.
ready.
So, okay, so I've got a couple questions for you. The first one really is it's the character deconstruction. So, as you've mentioned before, we really do take a bigger deep dive into Cliff Booth, his backstory, his love of cinema, the fact how what went down with his wife, his love of brandy. Does does learning Cliff's internal history, does it change the way that you watch Brad Pitt's performance in the movie now?
Excellent question. And interestingly enough, this is going to come out 2 weeks after we drop the 7th anniversary special episode,
Mhm.
which we did talk a little bit about this as the book and the movie were kind of spoken of, not at the same time, but the book did find its way into our discussion. Cliff Booth in the film, we learn quickly he's a badass. There are
Yeah,
moments littered throughout. The early on, the Bruce Lee fight is the moment we're supposed to realize it. Those of the people in the know when they get to Spawn Ranch and understand who the Manson family are, understand that once he leaves and he beats the shit out of Clem, knocks his fucking ass down, that he's a badass. Like, we have a pretty good idea. Obviously, at the end of the movie, it's solidified. Like, we know they have fucking walked into the wrong fucking house the way he decimates two of the three people inside. Well,
right.
actually, three of them, because he fucks up Mikey Madison's character with a can of dog food. Like, he is fucking people up, and he's also high on LSD.
Yes.
So we know he's a bad motherfucker. The book, I've always said on the show, is the book is a compendium to the movie, obviously, but it really gives us more. It's really more of a backstory for Cliff and a what happened to Rick post these events, and
Yeah.
briefly about him because they really don't go. He doesn't really go too far, which I think was smart. I think he held it out open for maybe he thought about writing something else. I did think he was going to write a book on Rick Dalton's exploits afterwards, like almost like he was doing his own book on him, as
Now
if he was
that'd be
writing an
fucking great.
autobiography for him. Whether that happens or not, who knows?
Right.
So he may have held back what he wanted to talk about Rick for that book, so we don't get as much about Rick. We get more about extras of the day in the movie. We get a lot about Cliff in the book. We learn a lot about Cliff without this sounding like an asshole. The movie does an amazing job with what we learn about Cliff. The book only enhances it. If the book never existed, we would know that Cliff's a badass. What the book does is it just informs you how much of a badass he really is. So if you haven't read the book, you're not going to go and watch the movie and be like, well, shit, I don't think Cliff's that cool. Bullshit. Everyone knows he's that cool. He took off the shirt.
Right.
Everyone went, holy shit. Yeah, we all
Right.
know he was pretty fucking cool within the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Right.
I just think the book will, if you read the book or listen to the audio, it's only going to make your love of Cliff that much more. And you're really going to get a, a real great look at who Cliff truly is. He's got a checkered past and he tries to, maneuver his way through it. But so I don't know if I answered your question, but I love what the book did when it gave us more because I love Cliff. But at the same time, Cliff is a pretty strong character without the book as well.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily change how you see him, but it gives you.
It's kind of like having a little bit of information other people don't. It's almost like if you like have a group of friends and your friends are meeting new people
Yeah.
and they don't know about your friend group and you do. That's what it kind of feels like. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like
You feel like.
we're with them now. Like I'm a part of their
Yeah.
clique and I
Right.
now know more
Exactly.
about
Yeah, now I know like the scene where in the book where he talks about killing a pig, where when he leaves the army and he interacts with the two mafiosos, right? Like all these little things, and you're just like you feel a little. I don't know. I felt a little bit more connected, and it made me
hmm
love
Oh yeah,
watching him even
it'll
more.
enhance your
Yeah,
knowledge because now you have some insider information that no one had before.
right.
We're
Exactly.
actually getting the character's backstory when most times you don't get that unless someone goes through some kind of like well, one time the sad hero who's always I hate killing people,
Yeah,
but yet he
yeah.
has to kill people. The Jason Statham character. I really have a
Right.
heart of gold,
Right.
but I gotta be a
Right.
tough
Right.
guy.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just I don't know. For me, like reading all those things on Cliff, I was just like, yeah, I know he's a badass, but Oh, this is like, it just makes him such a even more of a rich character. So my next question then, moving on here, is, and this is a great one I want to bring up. It is the structural flip. So in the movie, there's the build up to the Manson kids breaking in and entering this explosive scene where he beats the shit out of them. They get lit on fire, the revisionist history, etc. But in the book, that's just kind of quietly mentioned. Instead, we get this really, really sweet moment between Rick and Trudy.
Mhm.
And for me, I think it was extremely satisfying. First of all, I did not feel gypped or let down. I thought it was a beautiful ending, and it also kind of, I feel like Tarantino for the first time maybe ever really showed like a sensitive side, like showed being a dad, right? And that was, and he wrote it brilliantly, right? So I don't know, maybe it's also like being a new dad, and that scene I was just like, this is a really, really sweet scene that doesn't feel out of place. I love them both, but I guess the question is, do you think one captures the true heart of the story more than the other?
So I'm gonna say the film captures it for the simple fact that how the movie ends. And it's not the seal or dry part, although that is a big cornerstone of it.
Mm,
Rick walks up the hill.
right.
He's now rising above his own station where he is down below them. He's now being brought up to where they are. We crane up above to see it, and then it says once upon a time. So it's like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
I think the true heart of the story is the movie. The book is an amazing story in and of itself, but it's not a fairy tale.
Mm,
It's more of a memoir, I guess, kind of thing, or almost as if we're sitting around a campfire and we're talking to someone who's been at these places and they're filling in the gaps. Like, oh, let me tell you this story this one time about Cliff and what he did. And then, oh man, I was on set that day at Lancer. They're filling in some gaps and giving us extra juicy stuff about these guys, about these people, which isn't necessary for the film story to work.
mm,
But on the flip side, I do feel the novel needs the film for its story to work. So if you were to read just the book and never see the film, you would be very confused as to some of the things going on.
mm.
Us as the film watcher reading the book or listening to the audio tape, it's filling in, it's adding to the movie we already know and love, and it's filling in gaps and giving us extra. So it's almost as if we're getting a director's cut by reading the book or listening to the audio tape. The crazy enough is there already is a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the novel. The
Yeah,
novel is the
yeah.
sequel. It'll touch on things it did, like it opens up in a little different place, but does the same thing, but we get a little bit something more. I mean, Cliff gets his dick sucked. Spoiler alert. And we learn that he really enjoys getting his dick sucked in public, apparently. That's a big thing for Cliff. He loves a good dick sucking in public.
Yep.
Um, but we get to know a lot more about, how does he get Brandy? What really happened with his wife on the boat? Some of his time in the military. We figure out what happened. We kind of get a quick glimpse of what happened to Rick afterwards. And then we get more of, which is one of my favorite things, the Lancer. We get more Lancer. And we get to find out what happened the next day. So there's a lot more fed to us. But if I were just to read that without not knowing about the movie, I would be very confused because the novel needs the movie for it to make sense. The novel on its own, and it's hard for us because we're never going to read the novel first and then watch that movie.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people might. Some people might think that the movie's based on a book, and it is not. The book is actually based on a movie. That's a first that really
Right,
rarely
right.
happens.
And that's fair. That's
Mhm.
fair. That's a fair assessment. And I think, yeah, I think one of the other things I love about the book so much is, as far as Rick goes, you really get into his head, right?
Yes.
Like the whole opening scene with Marvin Schwartz.
Yep.
It's all it takes place in Rick's head, and how much Rick is flipping out, right? And thinking his time is over. And in the movie, Tarantino does this beautiful thing where he blocks it in a way, and he shows that angle, and then they're talking at Musso and Frank's, And then once Rick, in the book, they're in his office, right? But once Rick starts to think, I'm a wash up, I'm a has been, they can't notice the camera angle flips, and Pacino's almost a little bit taller than Rick. And it like provides you this without even realizing Tarantino's doing this masterful thing of showing you in the inside of Rick's head without showing you the inside of Rick's head, kind of a thing. I agree with you. As much as I loved the ending with Trudy and everything that we felt with Rick and all of his anxieties and things, we only love it even more because of the movie.
Yes, that's why you love it the most. That's why the book feels so warm. I call it a compendium because it just adds. If you just pick up the novel and have no idea what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is, and you start reading the book, it's an interesting read. It's a good read, but at the same time, like because they skip over Celio Drive,
Right.
and then you as a reader be like, well, what happened to Celio? Like you have no information now of what Celio Drive is.
Right.
So this is just like you get. It's almost like the movie ends and you didn't want it to end, and Quentin Tarantino was like 2 years later, look, here's a book. You want to know about your
Yeah,
friends?
no,
This is what catch up with them, and that's why I think everyone's so excited. Who's a big fan about The Adventures of Cliff Booth because we're getting another opportunity to hang out with them.
exactly. And I agree. And you kind of answered the next question, which was, like because he wrote the book after the movie, it's not really an adaptation, right? It's kind of that sequel. So, you know, can you fully appreciate the depth of the movie without reading the book now? Yeah, I think,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But like you
yeah,
said,
100%.
it's just such a, you know what it is? We'll use an analogy for Inglourious Bastards. Is that strudel tasty on its own? You bet your ass it is. But does it taste better with some cream? Yeah, it fucking does. And that's
Yeah,
basically what the book
right.
is.
The book's the
Is the
cream.
movie great? Yeah, but the cream, I mean, if you want more, if you want to taste it really better, get the book. It's the cream. You want the creme. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of Tarantino fans haven't read the book yet. And in my head, I'm like, you're missing out. You're missing out.
I I think they don't. Well, you know what? It could come down to it. When you have a fandom, it's always one of my favorite things is finding out people's where their movies rank. Like, what's their favorite? Where these, some people are like, I fucking hate this one, and you're like, really? And they're like, well, and then you're like, oh, but I love this one. You're like, really? Like it flips. So this was great about the fandom is his movies touch people differently.
Yeah.
So if you're not a big fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I can understand why people aren't. I think my generation, the Gen Xers, and some of the millennials, I think one of the reasons that it's becoming a bigger movie within that section of the fandom, we are now living in a time where nostalgia is really big for us because we're getting up there in age. We're starting to realize we've got less time in front of us than we have more time behind us than we do in front of us.
Sure.
So we start to think back on these things we loved, and we realize that our time in the sun is over with, and some of us can't handle that, and some of us are okay with it. We do what's called maturing, and we grow old. And I think what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one, it's the nostalgia movie for Tarantino for his love of a time frame he loved in his life. It reminds us of that as well. We're seeing actors who now are our age and we've grown with. We were young when they were young. Now we're old when they're old. And so some of the younger generation, it may not hit for them. One, the 60s. I mean, first of all, the 60s wasn't anything for me because I was born in the mid 70s. I didn't really come of age. I grew up as a child in the 80s and then came of age in the 90s. So this, 60s and even parts of the 70s are just like things that I've heard about that I don't really remember experiencing. I mean, imagine a kid who was born in 2000. My kids were born in 2000. The 69 is like, it's to us, it's like when the 40s were to me. I'm like, the 40s? That was forever ago,
Right.
So they're not going to understand some of that, and it may not resonate with them. So if that doesn't resonate with you, why would you read the book? If you're a fan of this movie and you haven't read the book, what the fuck are you waiting for? And if you can't read, it's a 12-hour, get on a 12-hour drive, you'll hear, and that's the funny thing is when you listen to it, it sounds like Daisy Domergue is reading it to you because she slips into Rick's southern voice, and all I hear is Daisy Domergue telling the story from the coach.
I'm happy you brought this up because my least favorite version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the audiobook because when I'm reading it myself, I'm hearing Rick and Cliff.
Yeah, I know what
but
you
it's
mean.
like even more fucking exaggerated for me, right? And then nothing against Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's wonderful, but but she's reading it, and I'm just like, it's fucking Daisy Domergue reading this
Mm-hmm.
novel, and I was
Because
like,
what's his because Rick is from Missouri, so she's giving the southern drawl like he does, and the minute she does that, she slips right into Daisy Domergue, and I'm just waiting for her to say the N word and do a whole bunch of heinous stuff. I'm like, holy shit, this is Daisy Domergue reading us the book.
I can't recommend this book more, and I think it's just such a treat that he gave us this to go along with it. That it's not just picking up a script, because sometimes you'll pick up a script and you'll find tiny little things that are little nuggets that are fun, but this is a whole different animal, which is wonderful. And I think, kind of, you get a lot of extra details with
Agreed.
the
Mm-hmm.
book. And that's kind of my final question, really, is like, because we get so many of these extra details in the book, right, on Rick's later career in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and his relationship with Sharon. Do you wish that some of that at least made it into the movie?
There's one part I wish made the movie, and it's here's the big spoiler for you folks. Did Cliff kill his wife? Yes, accidentally. The way it's written in the book is written quickly, but if it was put on screen, what makes this a great moment? One, it's shocking because he does pull the trigger. He's drunk. He's been dealing with her shit a lot, and they kind of go through it. Like a lot of people know that his wife was just would not stop nagging. She was just an asshole. She was a mean
Yeah,
drunk, and she got
yeah,
drunk a lot. And he finally just kind of accidentally, and even he says, "Did I accidentally do it? Did I do it on purpose?" Like he's even trying to play with it in his head, what
right,
really
right.
happened. So this spear goes through her and cuts her in fucking half.
Half.
She falls down and he has to grab and hold her together. They hold each other. He holds her together for like 6 or 7 hours before the Coast Guard finally comes out and saves them. This is a very poignant moment. They start to talk to each other and baby talk. We get to see a different side of Cliff, that he really did love this woman and they kind of fell apart. So Tarantino showed us a shocking moment of violence.
Right, right.
We're like, holy shit. And now he's holding her together. And now, as an audience, we want this to work. We want them to save her. The minute the Coast Guard takes her from his arms and puts her on the boat, they drop her. She falls in half and is pretty much dead that minute. That would have been one of the most shocking and funny moments. I think it would have beaten the Marvin scene, and it would have been amazing. And when I think about it, it fits in the book. It doesn't really fit in the movie because it is better to not know. But it is one of those moments I wish they had filmed, and it was at least a special feature, because I would just have loved to have seen that put on film. I think it would have been one of his funniest moments ever. But we don't get it, and that's okay. We get it in the book, but god damn. It's just a great moment. It's just I remember I laughed out loud reading it
It's
when they
fucking
say
hilarious.
they drop, because then like, oh wait a minute, maybe he didn't kill her. Like, because that's what Tarantino's setting us up for.
Right,
He's
right.
like, yeah, he did shoot her. Oh, but hold on, he held her together for 6, 7 hours, and they love each other. He wants to keep save her. And then, oh my god, the ship shows up and they drop her, and it's so matter of fact that even Cliff's like, yeah, it just happened. Even in the moment of him reliving, he's like, yeah, it just happened. It's just fucking.
It's it's
It's
so
one of my
good.
favorite moments that he wrote in that book.
I agree. I think the only other scene that would have been maybe like a minute flashback that could have been fun was when he kills the two Italian guys in
Somewhere in
Ohio
Cleveland,
or
some pizza
Cleveland. Yeah,
place,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think that could have been like a very classic
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino scene. Just a quick, like, fucking, I don't know, Brad Pitt with a buzz cut, boom boom. That could have been fun too. Just eating his pizza and shit.
I mean, honestly, anything on the Lancer set, because I love that section.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would have been great too. But yeah, we get
absolutely.
what we get, and it's very enjoyable. But goddamn,
Yes,
that part of the book is great.
yes. So, moral of the story is go read the book.
Yes, read the book. It's only going to, especially if you're a fan, it's going to just enhance it. Plus, you should probably read it because you have a little bit more of information on what you can expect of Cliff, and possibly in this movie. We're gonna just build on the lore of Cliff.
For anybody who is a fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, for anybody who is excited to go see the new Adventures of Cliff Booth, I could not recommend enough to read the book.
Well, Mr. Elbaum, thank you for another fantastic fucking discussion. If you'd like to weigh in on this, please hit us up on either our socials or email and let us know if the novel has affected the way you now watch the film. Those links can be found in our show description. And now it is time for our 2 for the road. As is customary on each episode, I like to close the show out by giving you, our viewers, 2 movie recommendations for you to check out. Mr. Elbaum, what is your movie recommendation for my viewers this week?
Okay, so I feel like you guys don't recommend older movies enough. And I'm a fan of older movies. So I'm going with Jacques Tourneur's Out of the Past, 1947, Robert Mitchum, Kirk Douglas, classic noir movie. It's got a lot of the foundation of what Tarantino is going to take. It's a fast-paced movie. You need to pay attention. The dialogue's fast. They move around. It's the ultimate cool guy, the ultimate femme fatale. It's just a well-done noir movie. And anybody who likes Tarantino, especially some of his earlier crime stuff, you're going to love this movie. You know, if nothing else, you're going to at least say, that was a good movie. So Out of the Past, 1947. Go check it out.
Very cool. We have our first noir movie set up. Now, my recommendation comes to us from this year, and it's Over Your Dead Body. If you're looking for a movie that just keeps cranking the intensity up another notch every 15 fucking minutes, then you've got to check out Over Your Dead Body. It starts with a husband and wife who quietly can't fucking stand one another, but decide to spend the weekend at their lake house, where unbeknownst to them both, they have each hatched a plan to kill the other. And somehow that's the least crazy thing that happens. Every time you think you've got a handle on where this film is going, someone new shows up and throws a grenade into the whole fucking situation. Before long, you've got escaped convicts, double crosses, life insurance schemes, bodies piling up, and some of the most ridiculous, how the fuck did we get here moments. What I loved about this film is that it knows exactly what it is, and it never takes the foot off the fucking gas. It just keeps finding new ways to top itself. It's violent, darkly funny, and packed with those moments where you just can't help but laugh because the chaos has reached such an absurd fucking level. So if you're into movies like Very Bad Things, Ready or Not, or The Trip, where every bad decision somehow leads to an even worse one, then this movie is right up your fucking alley. Over Your Dead Body is the kind of movie you finish and immediately want to tell someone else about. So do yourselves a favor and go watch these 2 kick-ass fucking movies. And that will do it for this episode of Talking Tarantino. Be sure to like and subscribe, then join us again next time for an all-new guest, fresh discussion topic, and more movie recommendations. You can also check out the Church of Tarantino podcast wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop bi-weekly. So for Simon Elbaum, I'm the Reverend Scott K. May Tarantino be with you always.